Hi everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today I'll be doing another end of season review, and this time we're going to be looking at North Queensland's season of 2021. I already did my Canterbury review, so go check that out. I'm working my way up from the 16th place team all the way up. Obviously I can't do some teams at the moment because they're still going in the competition, but tonight it's North Queensland. North Queensland finished the year in 15th place, 24 games they played, 7 wins, 17 losses, 460 points they scored, 748 against, which is the worst in the league, the worst defence. Valentine Holmes was the top point scorer with 126. Kyle Feldt was the top try scorer with 12 tries. Biggest crowd was 22,222 against Brisbane, and the average crowd was 14,472, which is quite good considering such a poor season that North Queensland had. Some of the players that they brought in this year were the likes of Javid Bowen. They got Keane Bradley, Lachlan Bay. They didn't really spend too much money, and they didn't really bring in any big name players, but they did bring in a couple of players for this year, North Queensland. To start the year off, it wasn't very good. 4 losses to start the year in a row, and I think after the 4th loss in a row, I'm pretty sure that's the one where Nick from Australia punched a hole in the sand and spat on his jersey. And then they had 3 wins in a row, but looking at the context of the year, 2 of them were against West Tigers and Canterbury, so not really much to write home about. But by round 12, they sat 7th on the table. And I was rubbing my hands together because I was thinking, look, I tipped North Queensland to come 8th this year. I thought that they'd just sneak into the final, so I'm pretty much right with my prediction. And then everything went south from there. They only won 1 match for the entire year after round 12. They had 10 losses in a row, which I'm pretty sure either equaled the club record for the worst, for the most amount of defeats in a row, or it certainly got close to that. In the second last round of the year, they finally got another win, which was over St George, which is, once again, I think nothing to be too proud about. And then the last round of the year, they were competitive like they were in some of the matches this year, but they ended up losing 46 points to 18 against Manly. If I was to look at some of their best wins of the year, definitely round 9 over their arch rivals Brisbane, 19 points to 18. Always good to get a win over Brisbane if you're a North Queensland supporter. Round 12 against New Zealand, 29 points to 28. Everyone thought that the club was going on the up after they won that, but obviously not. And also, I know that Sam Redl and Nick from Australia don't like to talk about this, but I actually thought round 19 against Melbourne was one of their best performances in a very long time. A lot of people before this game expected North Queensland to lose by 60 to 70 points. Everyone thought it was going to be a bloodbath. But at one stage in this match, North Queensland were actually leading. And once again, Melbourne managed to find a way to win, albeit with some dodgy calls by the match officials like usual. But I can certainly see as a neutral that was one of North Queensland's best performances. Some of the worst performances of the year: 50 points to 18 against Manly at Brookfield Oval round 14. I think it was the first time in 10 years that North Queensland had conceded 50 in a game. Round 16, 38 and out against Newcastle. Round 3, 44 points to 8 against the Gold Coast. I know Nick Ford was at that game and he was absolutely fuming. And round 4 against Cronulla Sutherland, they lost 48 points to 10, so they conceded nearly 100 points in 2 matches. Looking at their year though, when you look at North Queensland, they had a lot of injuries this year, especially the key players: Valentine Holmes, Jason Taumalolo, Michael Morgan retired early, who had been one of their main players for the last 10 years. They had to use a lot of debutants and a lot of inexperienced players. They used over 30 players for the year. I think they used about 34 to 35 players for the year. And also, you had a lot of players that didn't really want to be there or weren't really pulling their weight, like Eason Masters. He left to go to the Gold Coast. Josh Maguire went to St George, where he didn't really win much there either. And Jake Clifford as well, who was a very divisive character. He was like a shovel going through a pumpkin. I know a lot of North Queensland fans were not impressed with him. I remember even a couple on Facebook said that they'd drive Jake Clifford to Townsville Airport and pay for his ticket to go to Newcastle. Mid-season they got Tom Dearden from Brisbane, but that didn't really change things. Todd Payton didn't know how to use Jason Tamalolo properly. They had a lot of positional changes. Valentine Holmes once again didn't have a good year, despite being on £1 million. It just wasn't a good year for North Queensland. I'm pretty sure they're going to want to forget this very, very quickly. Is it as bad as the dark days of 1995 to 2003? It's not that bad, but I'm pretty sure a lot of North Queensland fans out there are starting to get very restless. This is the 4th year in a row that they've missed the finals and they don't want to miss another. How do I see North Queensland going in 2022? I don't want to upset any North Queensland fans out there, but it could be potentially more of the same if things don't radically change. Todd Payton was brought in. There was a lot of optimism after what he did with New Zealand, and it hasn't happened so far. The club's had a lot of bad luck with injuries over the years, but next year they're going to have to try to change something. Something's going to drastically need to happen, otherwise it could be more of the same, and North Queensland could be heading back to the dark days of 1995 to 2003. But anyway, that's me 2021 season review for North Queensland. They come in 15th place. It wasn't a good year. Hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know in the comment section below if you did. And stay tuned for me next season review, which will be West Tigers. Anyways, this is Rugby League History signing off. I'll catch us all later. Bye for now.